yes. We're here. And we have been observing the energy that has been integrating into and through your body as you have been exploring the inner work of the inner child. And this is a marvelous time to do that. And so these are just the kinks, the fine tuning, if you will, to be able to deeply cleanse and clear all that you have going on for you. This is a brilliant time to do it. And as you have these bonus moments, why not? What else do you have to do with your time, shall we say? And while you could release and put a bigger perspective on those lessons and experiences after you shift, this is still more empowerment for you while you're still here. This is what everyone must be doing, is to seek more empowerment of self and to boldly explore all experiences. Well, some of these are defining moments for you to be molded into and shaped into your life purpose, your life missions. It's all very purposeful. Sometimes there is still emotional trauma that is held from a lesson, even though the lesson has been learned and expanded upon and explored and mastered and been able to be utilized for the life experience as necessary. We are saying that there is still the emotional elements that can still impact someone so subtly or so boldly. So this is about seeing what else we can do to help you and assist you on your own journey as you are still very much here and very much human. We understand that you've given us free will to connect in with you again, to share whatever we choose that is the most important and relevant information for you to hear in this perspective of your time. All is well. All has been lined up to be able to help with the grand awakening, to be able to assist people, to be able to focus on the most important things. And just like what we did with the lockdowns, you are very focused on your awakening because we removed you from your distractions. And so again, another form of distraction you could say is money and the desire to constantly strive and achieve it. And so when you are so fixated on money versus your spiritual growth, we are humbling many. And this is purposeful, and this is significant. And this is all to guide them with love to their purpose and their path. As you know, it is not possible to not be successful when you are on your life purpose and life mission. And that is very clear and abundant as you see this being confirmed to all around you. There is no accident. And for many who are using their free will to go against their own natural purpose, their own natural life mission, they are wondering why it's so challenging for them. And while we allow them to have their free will, they will have their struggles, but those are all valid experiences also. And it's not to say that those who are on their complete life purpose and complete life mission are still not having to have experiences to make them relatable and reliable, that they know what they're talking about and experiencing as they are simply just exploring and expanding life and living with the experiences of all. If you're too absent-minded, shall we say, or refusing to focus on anything that is happening in current events, you are limiting your experience of what humans are going through. And so while we know some of you think, ooh, yuck, politics, how tacky. We are saying, well, yes, because leadership is so corrupt on earth. But there is new movements of truth coming out, being forced out. Well, we say, don't write off an entire system just because you have had the disdain for it at some stage. While things can collapse, there can still be empowerment through it. And this is how you get to collapse a system, by having potentially walk-ins come in to step up and speak their truth and not be afraid of consequences and not be solely focused on money. So there is much to be said about what is unfolding. And when you have someone who is not going to comply through threat of money, financial systems, or any other social what should we say, scandal, we see many who have wanted to speak their truth, holding back, not just for money, but for the fear of social scandal being suddenly brought out to public. This can be very fearful for many who have had interesting choices along their life journey. But as you know, you cannot judge those who have been learning their experiences and lessons in life. It is a requirement to be immature when you are younger. That is what your youth is for. And so, therefore, do not keep challenging yourself with guilt and frustrations as you had to experience life lessons. Life experiences are very valid for all. And so, this is the best time for you to learn and expand and grow from when you are immature, when you are fragile with insecurities, and you are learning to find your way, to find your feet, to find your place in the world. And so we say this is all fantastic experiences. And while you cannot judge yourselves, because truly there is nothing to judge apart from an experience, no more, no less, no judgment, experiences. We've said this to you a few times. We say, we would like to say to you that when you know that you've had immaturity years, some decades, some just moments, we want to boost your confidence and egos with that. We are reminding you that you mustn't judge certain people or any people with a single moment or a single attitude that's out of fashion. You must be able to make sure that this is not an assumption that you're holding on those people to assume that they have the same mindset, the same mentality, the same focus. We want to remind you your favorite meals as a child may not be your favorite meals as an adult. And so we could say the same about perspectives, tastes, passions, attitudes, behaviors. And so forgive all, as they are just experiences that you got to be privy to experience along with them, to see and learn and grow from them, to realize this was not for you, or to learn from, to realize you did not want to follow in those footsteps, or you did follow in those footsteps and found yourself somewhere that you did not appreciate or enjoy, or you did appreciate and enjoy, and then you get to step up onto your own path. There are so many that we are speaking to now. We are saying that potentially all of the scenarios we just delivered to you has been experienced by all. It is a marvelous time to reflect back on your lives. And when you get so distracted with other things, you're not thinking about yourselves, what you've been through, what you've seen, what you've done, how you've felt. And some of you feel like that's very self-indulgent to think of self. And we are saying that's part of loving self, that's part of knowing self, that's part of healing self, that is part of empowering self. So it is all about you. And it needs to be about you because this is your life, your purpose, your mission. And so all of your experiences are sacred and valuable to your soul. Wear them with pride, even the tougher ones. You know this, we've said this to you before. So now you're questioning, where else will we go in this conversation we're having with you today? We see many still tripping over egos, not too sure if they're truly in connection with us or just speaking their wish list of the conversations. And so there is much to be said. Some of you are so connected to your subconscious, you don't even recognize that there is a difference between your conscious mind and your subconscious, which is really your 3D counterpart versus your higher self counterpart, and potentially not the highest self, and obviously not full source. This is the challenge when you are such multidimensional beings. You're out everywhere. So this is a marvelous time for you. And we would like to say, as if your soul, as if your highest self was, we're trying to be romantic with, this is strange, that we're trying to give you a romantic notion of what you are. And we're trying to scan and see if it actually was an appropriate analogy. And so we're saying you are that dandelion head, and you are all together in that beautiful, translucent, fluffy ball of seed pods. And when the wind comes, and when the wind blows and moves you and carries you to dance and be joyful on an independent journey away from your ball of flower seeds, and you're having that dance, that flutter of life, that joy, that movement, that experience. Oh, it's topsy-turvy. Sometimes the wind can grab you and spin you all around, but you always seem to know up from down. And so you just keep getting carried away, floating around. And this is you having your earth experience. And while you do, as a soul, get back to be a collection again of your highest self, this is an analogy for you to think about how deeply close and connected you truly are to your soul family, to your other aspects of self. And we say these fields of these flower seed balls. And they seem so magical when they're captured in the wind. And it's like they have their life of their own. And even though consciously you know it's the wind playing this tickling game with the flying seeds, it is marvelous. Marvelous for you to think about this. And as that seed, that is a little helicopter seed fluttering and twisting and twirling all around the air, it could for a moment forget that it was part of a bigger item, a bigger object, a bigger collection, a bigger collective. And so while it is floating and twisting around by itself, it could forget itself and where it's come from, just like you have now. And it could feel so alone and so out of control. It doesn't move itself, it has no moving parts, but it feels like it's got an important role. It feels like it's supposed to be and do something important, and yet it doesn't know where it's going. And the wind is pushing and driving and twirling it. It's so strong and so forceful, and yet so graceful, like a musical dance in the sky. And when that seed lands, when that seed grounds itself, it settles in It finds its bearings, it finds its feet, it intuitively knows what to do to grow its seed, to be able to start the cycle again. And while this isn't really your soul, we want you to remember you're one part of a very bigger unit. And each unit really is quite homesick for themselves, for them, each other. They see themselves still as that one complete, beautiful, intact ball of seeds before they went on their own independent missions. And while you still get to connect back with your soul family, with your aspects of self, at some point in your perceived future, you are still deeply connected in, regardless of whether they are right there beside you now. They're still there, out there. You may not see them, but you can feel them. And when you think of them, chances are they're thinking of you. They hope that you're doing okay. They don't quite know if they're doing okay, but they hope that things are better for you. And that's the fun part of human lives, fun part of physical earths, the experiences. And when you get to come back to share these experiences, you'll see and remember how deeply connected and entwined you all are. Their energy has not left you. Your senses are still attuned to them. It's a beautiful connection. But because you've always had it, you haven't noticed being without it. And so you take it for granted as if it's not anything unusual. It is like saying, your belly button. You always have had it. Sometimes you remember and sometimes you don't. It's always there. You don't feel the belly button until you poke it and prod it. And this is the same with your soul family, with your other essences of self. They're always there. And while you can't necessarily feel them all the time consciously, if you reach out, while you can't poke your family soul members, you can energetically reach out and you can energetically add them into your white light meditation to be able to send them profound love. And this is the challenge when you don't consciously remember them when you're doing such meditations of healing and loving all. You're not necessarily factoring in all. So when you set your mind's intentions to be able to love all aspects of self, including your subconscious and higher self, and all the other fragments of self that aren't you, but potentially parallel lives, for example, and all versions of you through time. It's busy sending out love, supporting each other, and keeping high vibrational for each other. This is the message we want to leave you with. But remember, when that seed is being blown around in the wind, and it's so translucent and beautiful and light, this is a sense of something that you will be able to achieve soon. And while there will be no wind that will dictate where you go, you will be in complete control of it. And so you will feel so much at peace and empowerment when you have less density. We say the roots here on this planet are holding you tight to that density, and it's purposeful for now. But this will not always be your way. This will be changing, and you will lift your roots from this planet. And that is purposeful, as you need to explore. You have so much more purpose and so much more missions that you want to achieve. And so all is well. All is well. Go with joy. Go with love. Go with lightness in your hearts and in your minds. And we say this with so much love.